call, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap POD, Mike M.
We are live and you are here. Let's go, Billy Briggs. How you doing, Dutch? What up, brother? Doctor, what's up, brother? LJ from the HLJ.
Mike, man, happy to be here, man.
T on the ones and twos, -7.5, the official number we'll use, and the lines move 2 points. And this is not a show to be late for.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Pubbin, we be, it's last call. Happy Wednesday. It's hump day. It's December 13th, and I am psyched for this card tonight here. We got our boy rocking back for his third appearance on Last Call to dig into this NBA, and there is a lot of meat on the bone tonight. I'm excited to share the NBA with our guy, LJ from the H, baby. He don't mess around. He's got a big, busy night. Pub Sports bringing on the new show with Dutch and Dabby, all about the hoops, baby. Gonna be a great night tonight. Should be a ton of fun. Live betting, cash, and tickets all over the place. But we got work to do to kick this thing off. We got a big card. We got an NHL racked card. I was on Jimmy the Bag show earlier today, giving out some looks, early spots, and I've added to the hockey cards since then. Big movement in some of the goaltending spots out there. So I am excited about a nice big plus money, juicy spot to sink our teeth into tonight in the NHL. We got 5 plays lined up for college hoops tonight, and we're going to bust open the NBA tonight. We're putting them on notice tonight, and it's going to be involving our guy LJ kicking ass and taking names. I can't wait. Shout out to everybody that's here. We're 36 plus, rocking and rolling. You know how we do. We get in here, we get everybody ready to roll, 6 p.m. Eastern. We get you guys home, get you back, get the notepads out, get ready to write down some picks, and then we're going to go have a great night tonight and get to that window with a bunch of winners. And that's what it's all about, is winning, having fun. Winning is fun. And if you don't think so, then you're in the wrong spot, baby, because Last Call, we'd love to give out that gas, and we want to get everybody building them bankrolls. Man, we got a lot of things happening in the pub sports community in the next couple of months, concluding or culminating with the opportunity down in San Antonio. I made the commitment. I'm going to be there. I'm excited for my first opportunity to see the crew, Southtown, meet my guy Jeff Slaughter in person, and have a lot of fun with all you guys that come down and rock. It looks like a ton of fun. I was on some of those live streams last year, and I can't wait to get involved with it here. Roll my sleeves up, show you guys how I drink that vodka, show you how we put back that whiskey. And, we'll go out there and we'll do some parking lot pimping too. Can't wait to get involved. I know the crew's going to be fired up to get it done. Shout out to everybody in the chat that's here rocking. I see Israel Williams, new member. Shout out to our guy. Appreciate you jumping in, getting involved with Pub Sports, man. We're a big family that keeps growing, and we keep getting sharper with new guys like yourselves coming in here, giving them looks. We are cooking books, baby. Jay Smooth says, let's do it, money. MF Mike, let's go. Dan Kelly, popping out in chat. It's a great show with personalities that have great faces for radio. Thanks, Dan Kelly. Appreciate that, man. That's not the first time I've heard that either. Trisha M, there's my girl, Trisha M, says, hey, not too soon to fade the NHL. No, you're good. You're in a good spot. We're going to get into the NHL, give you plenty of spots to fade out there. I wouldn't do it, but you're more than welcome to it. So Perky Sanders is back in the house. Let's go. Debating Louisville -4 or Creighton with all them points. Why debate it? Why not just play them both? We're going to talk about those college basketball cards. Those are very much 2 looks on the card for me tonight. Unlucky Charm says, what's up, Mike? Let's get that money. It's hump day. Whoop, whoop. Absolutely. You know what day it is. Tori Coker, Mike, my guy. Let's hit the like button. You know it, Tori. That's it. We ask you guys to do 3 things. 1, hit that like button on YouTube. Support the show. Support the content. Help us grow this big thing. I say it all the time. Cracking into this market. Not easy. There's a lot of people that think they do it, but nobody does it better than Pub Sports Radio. We need your help by showing that thumbs up. 2, grab a pen and paper, write down all the plays that we shared, not just with the screen and the guest, but you guys in the chat, giving us that gold. And then number 3, make sure to share your plays in the chat with us. We love to see what you guys are on. You guys have been kicking ass and taking names. I see our guy Justin's out there. Says Stacks POD. He's got game time over 27.5 points plus 108 spot tonight. And he's soaring 114 and 110 out of our guy. There's Cheshire Cat, my guy. What's going on, Cheshire? Hope you're doing well. Fernando Mendoza. Let's go, baby. Sancho hit a 10-7-piece parlay for 1.2K. Had 2 Mike picks. Thank you, picks, Brads, and Canucks. Yeah, man. I love those. Those were probably 2 of my favorite spots. Clearly, they got there for us, but getting an opportunity to fade my Flyers and get that cash is like a little double win for me here. We're moving down the standings and we're putting cash in our pockets. Couldn't be better when you got a bottom feeding team like the Flyers they are right now. Derek TG says, what's up, Big Mike? Hope you're cashing big tonight. No bets for me today. Took a day off to celebrate winning 5K on the regular season fantasy. Fingers crossed. Man, great job. Shout out to you, Jared TG, my guy. Unlucky Charms sharing his plays already in the chat as well. He's on Hornets money line, 76ers first quarter, and Halliburton over 5+ threes. That's got to be a nice juicy payout there as well. Skermani says, let's cash today, Mike. T, the interest of, yeah, man, it's only going to get better. Little teaser. It's only going to get better. I can't wait. Shout out to our guys. JPZ in the chat there. You got mail, my guy. You know it, brother. Let's go. I can't wait. I almost want to put the show on hold right now. I can't wait to check this thing out and see what's doing for us. I'm fired up. You guys can't tell. Great mood. It's been a great day. Lots going on around the pub sports community, as we talked about. Had a great show earlier today with our guy, Jimmy. I appreciate him calling me up to the varsity. He called in the lefty. He said, come give us some plays today. I said, absolutely, guy. Let's go. And appreciate what he does, man, because it was all night grinding until the wee hours of the morning, trying to get those plays tightened up. And hey, as it turns out, kind of helps me for this show. Gives me a little bit more time to dig into the weeds and make sure we get it all tight and right, as you guys know I like to say. Joseph Thompson, what's up, Mike? Got that cash. Here's my 2 top model plays. We know this guy's been firing bullets. He's on Chicago State's Northwestern over 133. He's got the McNeese State over 140. I'll tell you what, I already played that McNeese State when you shared that earlier today, Joseph Thompson. So no pressure, man. But I see what you're doing in there, and I want to be a part of it. I want more of it. Caddy Daddy, Scotty Barnes over 2.5 threes at +200 from our guy, Caddy Daddy. Stimo G says, what a do, Mike M. Brian Smith, unders, Lakers, Spurs, planning on LeBron or Glassy Davis, or both sitting. Shout out. He and I would do it, but I'm just getting this thing right. This voice is just starting to come back. So I gotta be careful here. I want to make sure I can finish the week out strong with you guys. And it's no fun when I gotta go low key. I can't share the energy that I want to, transfer from the pen and paper to the card itself. So the Chillis sounds better today, Mike. Thanks, man. Let's go. Let's get a sip of this. Let's get a sip in us here and keep it rocking. So you guys know how the show works here. We're going to jump into this thing. We'll go through and we'll start with a little recap. And there's our guy, Ian, popping off, gifting his hard work, sharing, helping the community continue to grow. Our guy, Ian Shaber, with a gifted pub sports membership. Ian, thank you, my brother. It means a ton. I see it in here day in and day out. You're not just a one and done or one of those guys that comes in and talks smack, man. You come in, you contribute consistently, and you're paying it forward, helping us tonight with a. That's what it's all about, guys. Getting it done. Yeah, Billy Briss says 24 hours of that. Yeah, man. It was crazy. After the show yesterday, Billy had sent me a text. He's like, you gotta go get this stuff here, and it's some tea. And I'm not a big tea guy. I'll drink some coffee, but not a tea guy. And I opened up the pantry, and sure enough, there's I don't know how old it was, but it was called Throat Coat, and it was a honey-based tea that you guys are talking about. So I've been firing that away. I even have a teapot. Who knew I had a teapot sitting in there waiting to go? So my little teapot got it done, and we've had a couple of cups of this. Looks like it's got a little caffeine in it too, because I am exceptionally fired up today. And the Cheshire Cat says, shout out to the chat. Let's go. Let's talk about this recap here. Let's get into what happened yesterday. Better day for us yesterday off of that really piss poor, dismal Monday. And, we went with a 5-6, not where we want to be, but continuing to fight the race. We're still plus 20.5, 20.63 units on the cause. We didn't get the parlay, disappointing, but we took a shot with that Penguins game at -1.5 at plus 135. That cashed for us. Nice little 4-2 victory. And, I'd say it wasn't sweaty, but it was sweaty. In the third period, they scored. And then, when you get that third period goal, you kind of hope, like, if they can hang on, then we've got an opportunity for the empty netter. And that's exactly how it played out. The Rangers puked up a bag for us here, not in the right direction. The St. Louis Blues, same thing as well. Them St. Louis Blues. I'll say this, though. As much as I've had some St. Louis Blues spots, and they've been losers, I contemplated, do they make their way to the shit list? And what do? They fired their coach. So we've had some great success with teams post-firing the coach. And I think it's going to continue with St. Louis. There's not a ton of talent on that team. They just play in a mediocre division, and they should be able to capitalize on some of the scheduling matchups they have. So we'll keep our eyes on how that thing progresses. But there's that Predator spot we had against the Flyers. The Vancouver Canucks, if you go along with these things here, we got a minus 120 on that thing pregame. Going into the second period, I want to say it was tied. I live bet that thing again and again, and then they blew it open, and I want to say the final score was like 5-2 or something like that. It was just not even close. The Jets over 6. That's disappointing. That was a loss. Kyle Connor being out for the Jets, bad spot. San Jose, the play in hindsight with San Jose, 4+ goals in each of their last couple of games. Injury factors with the Winnipeg Jets, and then that back-to-back spot as well. So anyhow, we'll keep going here. We did cash Duke. We lost that Cal Baptist spot. I know a bunch of you guys were texting me and stuff throughout the game talking about how it was looking good, but then, man, it was like right at the end, they blew it. The Celtics came back to win the game on the money line, but Drew Holiday did not get his 4.5 assists for us. But there was that Denver winner over 218.5 to get us that cash. And again, 5 and 6 day, we're middling, but that's kind of what we needed after falling off the horse there on Monday to kind of climb back in this thing and push forward. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And again, it's a monster card tonight. So we don't have any time to waste. I got our guy back there all ready to rock and roll with us. And I don't want to keep him waiting long. So I know you guys want to hear the Hoops plays and his third appearance today with a healthy, positive, production for us with last call. So I appreciate him coming in and making sure that he does the research. He does it regardless, but for him to come on, be willing to share it with us means a ton. So I'm excited to get into that. But without further ado, let's get into this thing here. We've got a pretty decent sized hockey slate tonight, considering there's only a few games. Now, it is a Wednesday. I've talked to you guys before about the NHL on Wednesdays, and I'm a big proponent. The overs have been hitting at just an exceptionally high rate on Wednesdays. So, a couple of these shows, I'll move quickly with these because I shared some of them earlier today on Jimmy's show, and we want to keep it moving and get back because we do have a full NBA card to break down tonight. So, and then of course we want to make sure that we give way for the new show on Pub Sports Radio, and it's all about the hoops, baby. So let's get rocking on this thing here. The first game we're going to look at, we're going to talk about this New Jersey Devils spot with the Boston Bruins. And what we have going on right now, interesting little position here because it kind of started out this way. Boston still hasn't confirmed their goaltender. I don't know what they're waiting on, but last look I saw, it should be Swayman, but it's not an official spot yet. And then, of course, New Jersey's got Vanacek going. Vanacek's been doing all right. He's been hanging in there. We got New Jersey Devils earlier today at -1 plus 132. And, this line's dropped now. So we're down to -120s on BetMGM. We're seeing 125s and 130s elsewhere. Because of the volume of action that I have tonight, and I expect to add some more with our guy, LJ, I'm going to stay pat with this -1. I still like the plus 132. I do think it's a multi-goal opportunity for them to win this game here. And, look, we talked about this before. These teams that are expected to win in that -120 to -170 range, when they have 2 days of rest, are 40-17, and they're covering by over a goal. So the -1 is a spot that I like, and I do think it's going to come down to regular strength and not special teams. The Devils rank first in power play percentage. The Bruins rank first in penalty kill percentage. So that kind of scratches those two pieces of it out. Some spots that I also considered, I just haven't pulled the trigger on. The over first period, over 1.5 goals. Each of the Devils' last 13 games has gone over the first period mark. Just something I was kind of thinking about. But again, with the volume, I made another ad. I'm not going to mess around with this game. I'm just going to kind of keep it where I do have. The over 2.5 goals in the third period has hit in each of the Bruins' last 6 games against the Metropolitan Division. So what that tells me is it might be a tighter game early, but the scoring should open up. And I expect that's where the scoring is going to open up because New Jersey's up in that game going into the third period. That means our -1's good. And if you're looking to take an over, that might not be a bad spot to get involved with. But I started my card off with the -1 for New Jersey, and it's a nice plus 132 spot. It's probably even better now. Rod Z's in the chat. There's our guy, Rod Z, says Boston has swept the season series in back-to-back years. I can't disagree, and what Boston's been doing is impressive, but we know there's a couple of injuries going on with these guys. And while they were able to skate through it earlier with the McAfee suspension and going 3-1 in the 4-game suspension that he served, you start adding even more guys to that. And I think it's a difficult spot for him. So, maybe that's the spoils of giving out a play earlier at the -1. I would absolutely hammer -120, but again, I'm already invested in that game. So let's move on. Game number 2, we're going to talk about trying to keep an even more brisk pace tonight. And Rod, the goalie's still the same. It's kind of weird that the number keeps dropping, but maybe they're trying to tell us something. I don't know. Cheshire Cat says Jack Hughes and Pasta both over 5 shots on goal is +250. I mean, Jesus, Jack Hughes is something special. And, his brother's on the team with them. So there's just good vibes going on with those boys, what they're doing there with New Jersey right now. I just question, I know that this is the first spot back too. One last consideration for this Devils game. It's the first spot back. They had a 4-game road trip. They played Vancouver, they played Seattle, they played Calgary, they played Edmonton, but they went 3-1 on that kind of Pacific West stretch. And they look good doing it. Vancouver, tough team. They won 6-5. Seattle, 2-1. Then they come back, they play Calgary, they win 4-2, and they took the loss to Edmonton 4-1, but Edmonton's not the same team that was going on the first half of this thing. So I think there's a little bit of opportunity there. And if you look at the Bruins, tough loss to the Sabres 3-1. That was kind of like it. They didn't show up at all for that game. And then they did beat Arizona the next game out there, but Columbus, the game before the Sabres game, I just think this is a spot where it's going to be a little sneaky opportunity. It looks like Swayman, JPZ, when I saw, and I agree with you there, but let's keep it rolling. Next game we're going to talk about. I double dipped this game here. A couple things that I've been pretty fortunate to take advantage of here. Some of these same game parlays, although this one's not as juicy as others, but for this Pittsburgh Penguins game, a couple things that I looked at here. So first of all, we've got Nedeljkovic. You got it. Nedeljkovic. There we go. 2-2-1 in goal. We got Montebaugh on the other side at 6-4-1. And been doing terrible. Goals against average with a 93.7 spot. Here's why I jumped into this one, ultimately, for me. First of all, we have a revenge spot. Pittsburgh lost the last time they played Montreal. And when you have a spot where, you're playing an opponent that's won less than 50% of the games on the season, and you're a home dog in that revenge role, you're 27-85, and you're losing by 1.5 goals, 1.54 goals out there. So, because of Pittsburgh's kind of subpar, even less than subpar start on the season, I feel like it's an opportunity for us to buy low with these Penguins. Now, they just snapped that, was it a 4-game losing streak going into last night? And what the difference was is that they got some Jeff Carter production, top 6 forward for that team. Got to be a leader. And when your leaders aren't putting points on the board, it gets real quiet. And then what happens is the naysayers and the negative Nancy start to come to the show. And things can start going and unraveling pretty quickly. But also, one of those trends that we've been tracking is when you last played Nashville, you're home and you have another home game coming up as a dog, you're 0-9. 0-9, you're losing by over 2 goals a game at 2.11 is the margin on that thing. The unders also hit 7 out of 9 times in that same spot. Nashville's a gritty team. They've been winning games. They've been stacking up W's. Saros kind of had that little blip on the radar and has come back, but Nashville's not afraid to get physical, throw the body around, and that kind of wears on you those next games up. So we got a Montreal team that, has kind of been finding misery on their own accord right now. And I think there's that opportunity there. So I jumped on that Pittsburgh and I parlayed Pittsburgh with the under 6.5. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. In fact, the total has dropped down to 6. There's still some 6.5s out there that are juicy. But what I liked about this earlier today was taking that Pittsburgh Penguin spot. We were able to lock it in at -138. And then adding that under 6.5 gave us a +185 spot. I do expect it to be a lower scoring contest in this game. Again, that revenge spot. It's a travel spot as well. Montreal as a home dog off of a loss in the Eastern Conference is 7-24 in their 31 games in that model. They're losing those games by 1.61 goals a game as well. So we hit the Penguins and the Penguins in the under 6.5. Third game on deck for us here, keeping it moving. Got to keep rolling. I'm already behind. A lot of games to talk about. We got this Islanders Anaheim Ducks game here, and I jumped in on the Anaheim Ducks. We got a Gibson spot in net for the Ducks. We've got Sorokin in net for the Islanders. I'm not an Islanders fan. I don't like the way they play hockey, period. The underdogs have won 5 of the Islanders' last 6 games as well, so there's a big strength there in saying that the dog finds a way to come in and get it done. The Islanders also kind of had this thing over the Ducks where The Islanders have won the last 4 games against the Ducks, and they've been whooping the shit out of them. 21-7 is the average score in those games. But did you know Varlamov, it's a Sorokin Varlamov spot out there. And I do believe it's now, let me just double check. I want to say, yeah, it's Varlamov that's now confirmed. Earlier this morning, it looked like Sorokin, the first guy off the ice was Varlamov. They confirmed Varlamov from the morning skate. And guess whose kryptonite Varlamov is? The Anaheim Ducks. He's lost his last 4 games out there against the Anaheim Ducks. Plus 175 spot. Way too much juice not to take advantage of an opportunity for an Islanders team that, they've been doing okay. They're finding some goals. They're finding some opportunities out there. But the Ducks kind of fell off the tracks. They had that nice little stretch going. Then they beat Colorado at home before they went on the road. They lost 3-2 in the revenge spot for Colorado. Then they lost 1-0 to Chicago and then 4-2 to the Winnipeg Jets. But now they're back on the East Coast. For whatever reason, when these West Coast teams move out to the East Coast and they're in kind of that struggle or rut spot, the Islanders is the best medicine to get right and get right quickly. We saw that with Colorado Avs earlier this season where they couldn't win on the island. And they came through and they got it done. And then they started to go on a little bit of a mini tear. I think we're going to see a little bit of the same with the Anaheim Ducks. Furthermore, when you got your goaltender made 8 or more power play saves that previous game, the pucks aren't skating by them. They're standing on their head. They're 24-17, 16-24 to the under. But as much as I think it's a small margin of win, I think it's an opportunity to take advantage of the Ducks at plus 175. The Islanders haven't covered the puck line in each of their last 7 games as a home favorite after a win as well. So this is one of those kind of wedge spots where I think they're not going to cover the puck line and suggest a 1-goal game. And you're giving me almost 2-1 on my money in a spot where Varlamov plays like crap against the Anaheim Ducks. Give me a spot with that plus 175. And the third game we'll talk about, this is the ad that I had on here. Buffalo, Colorado. We look at this Buffalo, Colorado game. I already took the over 6.5 spot. Colorado, I said this before, and I'll say it again. The number 1 second period team to the over in the NHL. 5-1 in the last 6 overs in the second period. They've got 38 goals. This is a home stat, so it's when Colorado's at home. When they've got Cole McCarr in the lineup as well, they're shooting the puck at a clip that's, kind of unheralded. We got UPL back in goal, Luukkonen back in goal off of his sickness that took him out of the lineup and brought back in Devin Levi. But what I like about this thing here now, official confirmation, we got Prosvetov in goal for the Colorado Avalanche here. And, he's been doing okay. He's been more than serviceable when it comes to what he's been doing this season. But, I like this. I specifically like the over before we knew he was going to be in play. When your last game was either against Montreal or Calgary, and it was an over, you're 21-4 to the over that next game. So huge opportunity in those spots out there, 21-4 spot. And then this is where I jumped in this thing and I said, I was thinking about, because of the dog performance, that's again another one of those tight little margin spots, 3.7 to 3.7. That's 7.4 goals that we're seeing in those particular spots after Montreal or Calgary spot. And what I liked about this opportunity here is now I get a chance, Provorov's got his 3rd straight win, or his 3rd straight start rather. They claimed him off of waivers. He's been a guy that's come in, but he was claimed off of waivers. You don't get claimed off of waivers because you're slaying the dragon. You're kind of going out there because you're probably chasing too much dragon, and that's going to come back and bite him at the end of the day. So here's an opportunity for me. I got the over 6.5 already locked in from Jimmy's show today. My show ad is going to be the Buffalo Sabres at plus 175. Not enamored with what their offense has been doing, but they come out to Calgary or Colorado, and they're not scared. They beat Colorado last season in a Colorado appearance where they were almost a 2-1 dog. And if you look at Colorado, yeah, they just beat Calgary, but that was, that was a tight game. That was a 6-5 game. Now they're in the middle of a home stance. This is their 5th game at home. I do like to look to fade teams when they are in a 5th game spot. So things just get too comfortable. You get too complacent. You kind of start going through the motions before you realize the wears and tears of an NHL season. And then on the flip side of things, Buffalo looked pretty solid against the Coyotes. That was a Coyotes team that was firing back and forth. They were just kind of going through a little mini rut. But they came out there, they handled them comfortably, 5-2. Montreal, there's a 3-2 loss, but if you look at the history between the Sabres and Montreal, they always struggle. But there's that trend that I talked to you guys about for the over. After you play a Montreal game, that next game goes over 21-4. And guess what happened in that Sabres game? 5-2 final. That game ended up going over as well. So we locked in the Sabres as a show ad at plus 175. And we're going to take that over 6.5 keeping it rolling, moving, fast pace here. We got to jump through this thing. This is going to be rapid fire when we move into college basketball. So again, I already gave the breakdowns earlier today and their later starts. So, by all means, go back, check them out. I'll kind of give you guys the clip notes here. The first game that I jumped in on, and I'll talk to you about the line movement, is the Chicago State game. I looked at Chicago State today. I like these points. I think it's a team that plays well. Take a step back. They don't play well, but they play decent enough. The fact that we're sitting here at 25, Northwestern's a top 50 team in college basketball. That's a true statement. But Big Ten teams, when they play bottom 10 or bottom third teams in college basketball, they're losing at a 60% rate. So yesterday we saw a couple of Big Ten teams pick up the wins in those spots. And if you're losing at a 60% rate, then the stats will tell me that this is kind of leans in that direction. Now, Northwestern 3-0 against the spread and straight up their last Northern Illinois victories. They beat Purdue 92-88 in overtime. Then they blew out Detroit Mercy 32 points. But if you look on the other side of things here, Chicago State has a pretty decent defense when it comes to defending the perimeter. They also are a top 20 team when it comes to turnovers on defense. And I think that's the key. As much as Northwestern protects the ball, doesn't turn it over a lot, with 25 points, that is a lot. And that gives me an opportunity. Plus, we got a Chicago State team that's 44th in the country with free throw points overall on their season. When it gets gritty, I think they have just enough gas in the tank to get those turnovers, and they'll draw some fouls to get to the line. We know Northwestern likes to take fouls. They're not afraid to get a little chippy, and I think that's going to play to the advantage. Are they going to win this game outright? No, I don't think so. A 3-9 team, I certainly don't think that's the case. But I do think there's enough gas in the tank for them, especially with their free throw effectiveness when it comes down to the end of the game, to close that gap and get us within that 25 spot. So I took Chicago State. I also meant to give you guys the numbers there. 85% of the bets, 71% of the cash on Northwestern. So, lots of public action coming in on that giant home favorite. I wouldn't want to put my money on a Big Ten team in that spot. I think it's a good shot for Chicago State to at least get the cover for us. I looked at this Creighton game. I know we talked a little bit about this earlier. Which one do we take, one or the other? I took Creighton. I got Creighton earlier today at 12.5 points. So at 13, I still like it. That doesn't dissuade me from wanting to make a move on it. We have Creighton on the road going out to UNLV. 61% of the bets, 59% of the cash on Creighton. And the line kind of ping pong, and it dropped to 12.5. But the fact that it's now popping back up kind of tells me this is that break-even point where we're starting to see that buyback from the potential sharp buyers. And here's the thing about Creighton: 7-2 against the spread. And it comes to D1 schools, they're 7-1 straight up. They only lost to Colorado State. We talked about that game a couple of weeks ago between that Colorado State matchup where we were on the wrong side after they beat Creighton and shut Creighton down to 48 points. But after they did that, all Creighton's done is get better and stronger. That was kind of like the punch in the mouth at the right time to figure things out. When you look on the other side of this thing, UNLV, that's a 2-5 cover team against the spread. So they don't cover that number regardless. They do shoot 48.8% in terms of total offense, but Creighton from the floor shoots at 51%. And they're an effective three-point shooting team at over 40% from three. They rebound well. They do a lot of things. I think coming off that punch in the mouth, I don't think UNLV is going to have a chance in this game. I expect that to be around an 18-point game. We move forward, keep it rolling, brisk pace here, and then we'll get back to the chat and bring on our guy backstage here. Weber State and Nevada, next game that I wanted to talk about on the card tonight. And I'm rolling with the Wolfpack, baby. What's wrong with the Wolfpack? Not a damn thing. This line opened at -9.5, and depending on the books that you have out there, there are some nines at -110. 78% of the bets, 83% of the cash are on Weber State. The line itself, the total, the back number, opened at 133.5. It shot up to 138s out there now. 41% of the bets and 55% of the cash on the over. And I like the spot for Nevada here. Coming off their first loss of the season, big opportunity for them to kind of rebound. They're at home. They got completely boxed out by Drake right off the hop in that last game. They started poorly. They just couldn't get back on top of this thing, and they were laying 4.5, and they lost by almost 20 points. So now you got a team that's at home, motivated to come out there and get the job. And then on the other side of things, you got Weber State probably feeling good that they beat Cal Poly, but Cal Poly is a 3-7 team. So, I wouldn't get too emotional about that spot. I know that Weber's got the 177th offensive efficiency in the nation, but this is that styles make fights opportunity for me. You've got a team in Weber. How do they play? Well, they don't shoot well. They're bottom 300 or worse in every scoring category in college basketball. They're just not an effective shooting team. But what helps them get games done is the pace that they play. They're just a slow-paced team. And on the other side of things, Nevada, not afraid to shoot threes. They're a grinding team. They like to draw fouls. They rebound, and they run a quick pace. So collectively, that's a bad recipe for a team that wants to come out there and run a slow pace to get this thing going. What happens here is, and I said this earlier today, you're in a slow-paced environment where you want to come out there and try to dictate what's going to happen. Well, now you're in the bigs here with a team like Nevada. You're not playing Cal Poly. And what happens is you go down, you miss a shot. Nevada comes back, and within 3 seconds, they punch two right in your face. Now you got to come back again, try to grind that clock down. Maybe you get another miss. Now you're getting frustrated. You're drawing fouls, and I think that kind of compounds. It's like quicksand. You fall into it, and you just can't get out of it, and it's going to continue to mount itself on its way. I expect Nevada not to let Weber State dictate the pace and start slow. I think Nevada's going to want to get out there, grind on them early, grind on them late, and get this job done and cover that -9 for us. Two more games for you guys. I looked at Ark State, Louisville. I know a couple guys were talking back and forth earlier today in the chat about this game as well. And I went to Louisville. Bottom line for this game, I just think this is a bad spot for Ark State. Louisville, 44% of the bets, 57% of the cash. The line opened at 5. Now there's threes out there, or let me just double check now what the current numbers are. I still see one. It's a little juicier now, but 3.5. That doesn't matter to me, 3 or 3.5. I already gave it out at 3, so that's going to be the number I rock with here. But the difference in this one here is, neither one of these teams are really good. I think the deal for Ark State is they're coming off that UAB win. It was a big win for them against a mediocre UAB team, but they had 3 losses prior to that. They're not a good road team. All their losses on the road. They can't get the job done. They got smacked by Wisconsin, Bowling Green, Iowa. I believe they covered that Iowa game, but Little Rock and Alabama, they just keep accumulating losses. And on the other side of things, they take fouls. Who's a great free throw shooting team? Louisville. They're top 10 in the country, shooting over 27% effectiveness from the charity stripe, and good letdown spot. Louisville 4-1 at home. I know they got that loss to DePaul and Virginia Tech. They lost to Texas by 1. This isn't a great, in a week from now, would I take Louisville again in this spot? Maybe not, but I think in this case here, they're able to get over the 3. Arkansas State, not an effective offensive program. Louisville, for that matter, not a great defensive program when it comes to blocking offensive shots, but I think 3 is enough in this game. I think that's the right number. I think the Sharps probably had it right with the 5. I'll take the home favorite with the line coming down and giving me that opportunity. And the last game I'm looking at for you guys here is I went to Seattle, San Francisco. We've been running pretty strong when it comes to college basketball the past couple of days. So I wanted to try to kind of exploit that today with the 5-game card. Looking at the Seattle San Francisco game, it's a late night spot. I like to kind of break them up throughout the windows. What we had is Seattle opens up a +8.5. Now it's sitting at 10, 74% of the bets and 54% of the cash on San Francisco. Right there should be a little bit of a flag that says, as much as all the public's pounding away on San Fran, they probably got him in teasers. They probably got him in money line parlays as well. I looked at this thing and I thought it kind of came down to defense here. We got some sharper money or some bigger bets coming in on Seattle and taking those points. And, I think the biggest difference here is public perception. Everybody knows San Fran, but why do they know San Fran? They know San Francisco because they play in conferences with Gonzaga, with St. Mary's, and they're a strong home team. They are 4-0 at home. Seattle 0-2 on the road. But I've made some money with Seattle this season. I've also made some money fading San Francisco, and I think this is a good spot. San Francisco's got an outright loss to Arizona State. They beat Vanderbilt, but this isn't Vanderbilt of a couple of years back. They're not, the Pippen-led squad that they were isn't getting the job done this particular year. And, I think they had a no cover out there. So I just think it's a good spot here. It's a defensive battle. San Francisco's got a good defense, but so does Seattle. Seattle shoots 45% from the floor. San Francisco shoots 48% from the floor. But the big factor for me in this game is the look ahead spot. Next game for San Francisco is Utah State. The look ahead opportunity, 9-1 Utah State, one of the best offensive and defensive programs in the country in Utah State. I'm going to fade them, and I'm going to take that 10 points given that look ahead spot and give me Seattle. So rapid pace. I'd really hate to have my guy sitting back there on ice like I did. I hope he forgives me. We're going to break into the NBA card and have a little bit of fun with this thing here. So we do have a big card to jump into. You guys know him here. And third appearance on Last Call. He bets volume. I love a volume better myself because it gives us an opportunity to start early and finish late, and we either make up ground or we continue to smack the bookies in the mouth. Let's bring our guy on here. You guys know him, LJ from the H, baby. Who the hell is that?
What's going on, Mike? How we doing, my guy? How we doing?
Dude, I got the voice back to some degree, so I'm feeling better about things here. I can finally speak without having to bite my tongue, if you will, when it comes down to it. And I'm looking to speak with you about this NBA card, man. I think it's a great spot. I love having you on to begin with. And the fact is now we're past that in-season tournament. We're past that break that they had after that. Each of these teams has now had a game or two under their belt. And I think it's time for us to fire away. So, you know the deal. Let's start this thing off. I'll pop off the games. We'll talk a little bit about the line movement, set the table for you. And let's know if you got a spot, prop, or it's a pass, or it's a push, whatever the case may be. But let's talk about this Pelicanos and the Wizards first game on the docket tonight. The line opened at -7. Depending on where you're shopping, we got 6.5s and we got all the way up to 8s out there. So 70% of the bets on the Pelicans, 68% of the cash on the Pelicans, and marginal line movement at best. As far as the total is concerned, it opened at 245.5. Now we're seeing 240.5s out there, 49% of the bets and 66% of the cash on the under. And interesting spot because we did have the Pelicans coming off of that beatdown. Not a beatdown. I guess it was a beatdown. They took down the Timberwolves at home. Pretty big spot there. I know a lot of people were thinking Timberwolves because of what they had done kind of pre-tournament. But then on the other side of things, when you look at the Wizards, they're coming off a blowout by the Sixers. They lost by 45 points, almost a 50 burger in down to them Sixers, LJ. What are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I don't really go to get a side on this one, Mike. I don't really like betting sides with cross teams like East Coast, West Coast teams. That's just a rule that I picked on last couple of years doing this sports betting. Just want to be disciplined enough because these teams don't know each other. They only play one time a year. Well, one time home, one time away. So they don't have a familiarity with each other. So I did get to a prop in this game, though. I'm going to take Brandon Ingram over 5.5 assists. I got it at -130. He's had 6+ assists, 6 out of his last 8 games. And Washington, if you know, give up the most assists, ranked 30th in the NBA, giving up the assists. And I looked at the power forward position their last couple of games. Tobias Harris, 6 assists. Royce O'Neal, 5 assists. Batum, 5 assists. Pachero, 7 assists. So I believe the fact that Zion is ruled out now, Ingram's going to have a lot of usage in the game tonight. So I believe that he will get that over 5.5 assists and get 6+ assists tonight, contributing to the offense tonight with the Pelicans. Like, I would lean the Pelicans because they are a -7.5 road favorite, but I don't get to a side. I just stick to the prop, see what's been hitting consistently enough for me. So Brandon Ingram assist prop.
I love you opening the card with an assist. I feel like we just left off cashing a big assist play. It was that last week there together with our guy James Harden. So it was borderline controversial the way you got it done there at the end, but I'll take it. It was a win for us. So when you're spouting off about assist, I'm taking advantage and I'm gonna take a look at that myself here. I looked at this game and the big thing I kind of came up to was just that, Jimmy talked about this before, and I can't believe I'd never heard about it before, was after a team gets blown out by 30 or more points, he knew a guy that was just kind of blindly playing that spot. And I heard a stat today where teams that get blown out by 40 or more points that next game are 60% on the cover side of things here. I don't know if 8's enough though. So it was kind of you see, I just have a lean on that side with Washington, but I love the assist look with Ingram. I love that Zion being out gives him a little bit more time with the ball to kind of figure out who to get that open spot to. So like it, my guy, LJ's opening up the playbook tonight. First play for our guy, LJ, with the Ingram over 5.5 assists. Let's talk about my squad here, the Philadelphia 76ers. We got the Detroit Pistons, hosting the 76ers here. A line that opened at 11. We see 12 and 12.5 now. 68% of the bets, 67% of the cash on the Sixers. And then as far as the total, we got about 5.5 points of movement from the original look-ahead line. 227, now 232.5, 56% of the bets and 90% of the cash on the over and moving in that direction. So we've got a 5-point move. I guess the question is that going to be too many here? We know the Sixers, we just talked about how they handled the Wizards and they beat up Atlanta the game before that. So they're on a nice little 2-game cover streak. That being said, though, the Pistons, They've been losing comfortably and handily. They lost to Indiana. They lost to Orlando on the road. They lost to a Memphis team, which has been getting beat up by everybody, LJ. But is this the spot to make that cash with Washington? I'm sorry, with the Pistons.
I don't believe so, but it's possible. The 12.5 is a big number, and who's to say the 76ers care to cover the spread? They just probably want to just get out and win, But I only lead Sixers, man. 11-5 against the spread versus the East, 5-1 against the spread versus division. So they play very well, especially against division opponents. So I wouldn't hate the -12. I'm just not going to take it. I just want to get to something that's consistent. So I'm going to go to another prop in this game. And we're going to jump on Tyrese Maxey over 27.5 points. -110, I believe I got it. 5 out of the last 8 games, he has hit this number. And Detroit allows the most points to the point guard position, averaging 31 points their last 5 games. So I believe Tyrese Maxey, excellent spot for him tonight versus a vulnerable Detroit defense, which gives up a lot of points. So this could go over as well, because I believe the last 8 out of the last 10 games versus this matchup has gone over. So wouldn't be mad at that over, but let's just stick to what's working. Tyrese Maxey over 27.5 points.
Nice. That's going to correlate with my action. I've got the over as an official play for me in this game.
Yeah,
I got this one down here. Double-digit favorites when they're facing the team they beat in the previous matchup have gone 47-18 to the over, following a game that they scored with a win differential of over 10 points. And then to your point on the Sixers side of things, the Sixers in an 11-0 spread spot, covering the spread by almost 16 points when they're on the road in a conference game, following a game in which they recorded 3 more assists than their opponent. So when they're passing the ball around nicely, when everybody's getting involved in the game, that just carries over to the next game. And you talked about how the Pistons, they just stopped playing defense. The Pistons let up 131 points to the Pacers. We know the Pacers are a high-scoring team. They let up 123 to the Magic, kind of another high-scoring team as well. Then they let the Memphis Grizzlies get 116 on them. The Sixers aren't having any problem scoring. 146 points against the Wizards, 125 on Atlanta, 131. I got this at 232.5. So I jumped in on 232.5, but let me just line shop to make sure that I'm still giving us the best number. I don't want to cheat anybody out here. This is last call, so we have to take into account these factors that go in. 232.5 are still out there. So line shop, I see it at PointsBet, I see it at BetMGM, I see a 233. I still wouldn't be mad at that. I mean, the fact is, the margin is what kind of jumped me on this thing here. When we see those double-digit margin spots, it's just a blowout. And I think a team that's getting double-digit favorites, on the road in this spot, they're hot. They want to continue to stay hot. The Sixers like what's going on right now, and these are the kind of games that you do have to kind of whoop up on them. So love the look with Maxey. That correlates with my over. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep this pace going. We got the big show coming up tonight, LJ. I heard you're going to be a part.
Sir. Yes, sir. Can't wait. Talk a lot of NBA tonight. So.
It's going to be a great day. Live betting in the NBA has got to be the most profitable. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous to see. You see these teams will go down 10, 15 points. You catch, I had one the other night there where I had the Grizzlies like +1.5. I got them at like +13.5 live, and I think they only lost the game by like 5. I was like, really? This is whether you use it to fix a bad bet or you use it to double up on your profit.
Exactly.
Live betting sport. I'm excited for the show, and I know you're going to be a big part of it. So we got this Atlanta Hawks game. We got the Toronto Raptors. We got this thing opening up at a 2. Depending on where you look, a half a point of movement either way. So 35% of the bets, 67% of the cash on the Atlanta Hawks. Not believing in this Raptors team on the road, or at home rather. And my total's a little funky because I don't see a good opening number. I see it's at 241 right now. My totals were off all day today with action. I don't know what happened there, but 51% of the bets and 56% of the cash on the under. And the other thing that I look at, LJ, when we see these tight games here is what's the money line doing? Because as much as we don't really see much movement when it comes to the side with the spread, when we look at the money line, though, we see that this Raptors team opened up at -130, and it's sitting around -124 with 56% of the bets and 55% of the cash on the Raptors. So, not much of a tell there either. I mean, it's kind of like we just haven't seen a lot of movement, LJ. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I pass on this one. Both of these teams are horrible versus the spread. Hawks 5-17 against the spread overall. Raptors only 6-11 against the spread versus the East. So both these teams play horrible as far as the spread. So it's a toss-up. Any team could win this. So didn't dive into it too much. So we can definitely pass on this one.
Gotcha. Yeah, Big Scott says all about the hoops with Cab and Dutch. And there's Jacqueline. Hello, Jacqueline. Thanks for dropping
Hello, Jacqueline.
in, saying, hey, what's up to us? Perky Sanderson. Yeah, he's asking what show is tonight. There you go, Perky. The new one for Pump Sports, man. They're kicking off on Wednesdays. All about the hoops. Dabby's going to talk about college basketball. Dutch is going to talk about the association. Lots of guests coming in there. And I know our guy LJ is going to be a feature piece there. Yep. So Dan Kelly says he's got the same game parlay with Bogdanovich over 24.5 points and over 3.5 threes at plus 130.
I like that one.
Me too. I got to figure out how to. I got to figure out what to do with that, Dan Kelly. I gotta make a note, my guy, because I don't want you guys cashing without me. That's a no.
Exactly right. Because he gets the most minutes off the bench, so that's definitely a good look.
I like that a lot. When you get the pen and paper out, boys and girls, you've registered with me. You've resonated with me on the spot there. So, and he's got Herb Jones over 3.5 assists at plus 170. I love the props in the NBA, man. That's probably one of my favorites. And there's Perky Sanderson with his official play. He's got Creighton first half money line. He parlayed it with Louisville money line, 500 to win 340. Doesn't like tonight's slate, but giving us the look. And there's our guy Tease. Norfolk State went down 5-0. Grabbed them plus 175 first half. That shit's going to be money from our guy Tease. Appreciate Tease dropping in, giving us them looks, baby. Let's go. And then Dan Kelly says the Celtics last night were losing to Cleveland most of the game. Cleveland had been in Florida the past 4 days and played in Orlando the night before, and we're missing Mobley. Easy money. Yeah, man, that was one. It was tight. You could just tell it was going to kind of sway back there, though, couldn't you, when you were watching that game, LJ, or at least the score? Like you could see they went down like 10, 12 points in the first quarter, and then as the game kind of ticked on, they just kind of grind it back. It's almost like they knew they were going to win that game. They just didn't want to put the effort forward to go out there and blow them out.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, let's talk about this next game here. The one thing I did want to share, sorry guys, I want to keep it rolling and get everybody, getting these opportunities. But although I don't have a play on that Atlanta-Toronto game either, when they get a road team that's getting a line that's less than +7 off a home loss, they're 28-2-2 when they have rest and a total over 224. The win margin on that thing is 7 points. So that's kind of that proverbial question. Do you want to take a short number with the Hawks at +2? But the number in the trend suggests it's a 28-2-2 fit for the road teams in that spot. There wasn't enough meat on that bone for me. I like fading the Raptors, but that's not a spot I wanted to jump into. So next game we'll talk about, though. Let's keep it moving. And let's talk about this Charlotte Hornets Miami Heat game here. We've got the Hornets opened up at 8.5, sitting around 8. 48% of the bets and 74% of the cash on the Hornets. Then you look at the total, 226 is where it opened. We're seeing it drop. It's down to 222.5 and moving down. 58% of the bets, 61% of the cash on the over. Ooh, get excited. Get all choked up thinking about this total. And we're moving downward. So, LJ, take it away.
Yeah, I didn't do too much of this game either. I don't like the fact that Miami's don't have their full roster. I'm waiting for Hero to get back, Bam to get back. I just don't depend on a lot of these bench players, to give me profit. And as far as the Hornets, they don't play no defense. LaMelo's still out of their lineup as well. So just a lot of, too much going on with these two teams. So I just stayed off. This is a division foe, so they do know each other. I will lean over for the most part, but I don't think they could put up points considering a lot of points are missing from these rosters. So I just did it. Easy pass for me.
Gotcha. I gotcha. So I had originally locked it down as an under. I had an official play, but I backpedaled on it. And it's funny when I add plays that I didn't have on the card, I seem to take an L with them. But when I take a play that I had on the card and then I back it down, I seem to catch up winners. So the reason I like this one here was when either team has rest and one's coming off a loss as a road favorite shorter than -2, they're 31-0-1 to the under, and it's going under by 15.5 points. So a 31-0-1 number is pretty substantial, clearly, when you look at it. The last time, that thing hasn't taken a loss. The push came on March of last year, March 2023. It was a Pacers-Raptors game. So, in my opinion, I like the under in this spot. I like that everyone's banging on the over. But what makes me nervous is the players being out. Sometimes those backup guys step up because they know it's their time to shine. So, I want to do it, but I have so many. All right, I'm just gonna pass on it. I wanted you guys to know about that stat. I got a lot of action out there already. So I might circle back. I'm going to put an asterisk on that one
Yeah.
by the end of the show. I might circle back.
Yeah, you can circle back.
See if we can get that one done. So, I mean, 31-0. Jesus, that's
Yeah, that is that. Yeah, that's alarming. That's hard to ignore.
That's an eye-opening number. But let's talk about, speaking of eye-opening, let's talk about these Memphis Grizzlies and what they're out there, right? Houston Rockets, your town, your boys, gonna put on the show tonight here. -6.5 is where the line opened up. We got 7.5, but shooting up to 9.5 with 83% of the bets and 84% of the cash on the Houston Rockets. The total opened at 212.5. Now we're down to 211s, and I see 209.5 on some of these books as well. So 60% of the bets, 88% of the cash on the under. LJ, take it away.
Yeah, I got a lot going on in this game, Mike. So we're gonna be here for quite a while. So let's start off with the game. First half, we're taking the under 120.5 -115. The Rockets are 17-3 to the under first half. And I won't be mad at the full game under as well, but I see the line moved a little bit. Also, the spread, I had it at 7.5 when I said it this morning on Jimmy's show, when I did it in the chat. It's moved up to 9.5, I believe, if you have that number right now. So I'm not going to make that official because I do believe that that's saying that Desmond Bane's probably not going to play. He's still a game-time decision. He hasn't been ruled in yet. But for that number to move 2 points, I believe he's possibly not going to play. So, but I'm not going to make it official full game. I got it at 7.5, but now the numbers change. But I am making that under official first half 102 simply because of the Rockies keep these teams under pretty. Bane is out. Norman Ross just said it. Yeah. I figured it would be. So yeah, that's why that line moved. But yeah, the Rockies keep these teams under like 55, right around 53 points. And Memphis and the Rockets are bottom 3 in first half scoring, keeping it under those points. So I believe that under will hit for sure. And as far as me on some props, I got 3 players in this game I'm taking. First off, Jalen Green, over 19.5 points, -130. He's had 20-plus points, 5 out of his last 6 home games coming out of December. Now, the last 2 home games, he's had 15 points and 7 points. So I believe that he's looking to come out of that slump versus Memphis, which he had 34 points the last game he played. So I'm going to take Jalen Green's points at home. He's more comfortable at home than he is on the road. And I'm going to jump on Van Fleet, over 4.5 rebounds, -110. He's had that number 5 out of his last 8 games. 3 out of the last 4 home games, he's hit over 4.5 rebounds. And he had 7 rebounds versus Memphis the last game. And Memphis gives up the most rebounds to the point guard position. So all that correlates for Van Fleet to get 5 rebounds tonight. And last but not least, Mike, we're going to jump on my guy, Jabari Smith Jr. Over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists, -127. He's averaging a 29 PRA his last 4 games. Last 2 weeks, he's averaging 24.5 PRA. So he's been consistently hitting this number. Now, I'm going to give you a bonus. I'm going to jump on his double-double, +145. Simply because the last 4 games, Mike, he's been teetering on that double-double. He's had 9 points, 18 rebounds, 9 points, 16 rebounds, 6 points, 12 rebounds. So he's teetering right there on that double-double. And Memphis gives up the double-double to the forward position because I believe the last 3 games, the power forward position has cashed nearly a double-double on Memphis. So I believe all those props correlate for me to cash tonight. So I'm going to take all 3 of those. And official, I'm on the under first half, 102.5, -115. Those are my plays in this game.
Lighten the clip up. Jabari Smith, what was it points, rebounds, and assists?
Yes, over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists, -127. And I'm taking a shot on the double-double, +145.
What I like about that play there with the way you're doing that is it gives you that opportunity. If he catches that number where you expect him to, kind of the way they get the game script broken down, then you really kind of have that free play to get almost 2.5 units off of you get more bang for your buck by taking the shot. And then if he gets the one and he doesn't get the other, then no harm, no foul. It's plus money spot. So
there you go.
I love making plays like that myself. And, the thought I had with the side on this thing is Memphis isn't scoring a lot of points. The number's already 7.5 with Bane being out. Is he worth 2 points to a team that doesn't score a lot of points anyways? I mean, do you think he really is that? I mean, he's the only guy scoring, right? So he's got to be. I just question, is that enough? Is it moving to 9.5 enough to keep me off it? I guess it is for now. I love those props. I might have to jump in there and tie one or two of those to the Rockets on the money line. So let's keep it rolling. Let's go. I love the looks there. We got a little bit of a banger from our guy LJ on this Houston game. And the guy knows his team, man. When he's in there and he's looking to capitalize, make sure you get that pen out and write them plays down. That's an 8 p.m. Eastern start. Going to be plenty of time to get that in, make some decisions, and talk about the rest of these games as well. So let's keep it moving. LJ doing a great job. We got a great timing going on here, trying to get everybody rock and rolling for the boys and the big show coming up next with Pub Sports Radio. Let's talk about this Pacers-Bucks game. A lot of guys I've been hearing talking about this Pacers spot. I'm guilty of it too. 74% of the bets, 73% of the cash on the Bucks -6. Hasn't moved. The total, 257.5, is now freaking 258.5. 39% of the bets and 61% of the cash on the over. Is this an all-star game? I mean, that number is absurd. I mean, I just think it's higher and higher. Now, the thing about this one here is we saw the Bucks have been an over team to start the season, at least in the first halves. And the Pacers, we know what the Pacers are doing with their overs. But when it comes down to it, these guys just played in that in-season tournament on a big lofty number, and it went under. So talk to us about how we're getting paid here.
We're going to get paid. I'm going to take a shot on the Pacers just because of how they play well in the division. The Bucks do not cover the spread versus the division. 0-6 against the spread. And they're 8-12-1 against the spread versus the East overall. Now, to win the game is different because they're 9-1 straight up versus the East, 3-0 straight up in home versus the division. So they may win the game, but I don't believe they're going to cover that 6 because the Pacers can put up points. And the reason why the total is so high because both of these teams are the number one scoring team in the NBA so far. So that's why the number is so high. The defense of Milwaukee's been lacking since they traded offense for defense for Lillard. And we see Indiana, fast pace, up and down, all day long. So this is going to be an up and down game for the most part. But it's going to come down to the end. Who's going to make the final stop? So I just looked at the numbers as far as the Pacers. They're just as good against the spread, especially versus the East. 5-3 against the spread on the road, 11-7 against the spread versus the East, 6-1 against the spread versus the division, 2-0 on the road versus the division. So they play well in this spot. So either one of these teams could possibly take the number, but I'm going to trust the Pacers keep it close and not necessarily win the game. That's going to be my side prop, Pacers +6. I see you got the number right there, or 6.5, either one you have. I'll take the plus. And I'm going to take Giannis's points plus assists -115. It's at 40 right now, and he's hit that 3 out of the last 4 games. Now, his points are at 35. He's only hit that 3 out of the last 10 games, but the Pacers give up the most points to the power forward position. Now, can I trust that Giannis is going to get 35 points, or can I trust that he could get the 30-plus assists, which he's had double-digit assists 3 out of his last 4 games. So I'd rather trust to combine them so it can hit that 40. Supposed to me getting hooked on that 30, 35, he ended up with 33, 32, somewhere around there. But he covers the assists to get the 40 total. So I'm just going to stick to the points plus assists, which is at 39.5, which you have to get 40. And I'm going to take the Pacers plus the 6.5, which I have right now at the current number to cover. I
see a -108 for the 6.5 too. So
okay.
I don't know if that's the same number you're looking at, but I saw that there just now. And I love it. We saw our guys last night. Billy Briz came on and he was kind of doing that same thing with the points and assists. Like some of these numbers are pretty sharp when it comes to their total, but if you add that other component to it, I know he was cashing on a couple of those spots specifically because of that. So I love that. I love that look as well. The one number that I had, the one prop, it's juicy prop. So I got to rethink this thing because you were talking about this Pacer spot, and again, the entire fucking betting public is hammering the Bucks right now. They think they just played each other, and the way the Pacers play ball is not a good matchup for the Bucks right now. Like it's a tough spot for them. But I like the Brook Lopez under 6.5 rebounds. He's averaging 5 a game. He ranks 50th amongst the centers in that rebound position. I thought about parlaying him with the money line to the Bucks, but I don't know if I'm going to get there now. And he doesn't. he's got Giannis rebounding out there anyways. He doesn't need to go out there and get a ton. It's just a little too juicy for me. And I thought about bringing it down like the alt line to 5.5, but just an interesting spot. I was just thinking about that Lopez spot, but now that you've given us enough to consider here, I'm going to pass on that. Then this is just going to stay a lean for me on that Buck side of things. And in fact, I'll leave it as a lean. It's nothing I want to get to the window with. Cheshire Cat likes the Halliburton triple double.
Ooh,
fuck around and get a triple double.
Hey, I wouldn't be mad because the Bucks give up the double too. So anybody can get it, so that's possible too. Miles Turner double. All those are good looks.
I love it. Let's keep rolling. Love you guys sharing the action in the chat. I know we're trying to keep that brisk pace. We got that big show popping off here in just 14 minutes. So we want to get through this thing here. We've got 3 more games to knock down. We got to pick it up. 2 more games. No, 3 more games. I'll figure out how to count when I use my fingers and toes. Meanwhile, we'll go to the Lakers and the Spurs game here. We got the Lakers at -6, now -3s, 57% of the bets, but only 18% of the cash on the Lakers. Seems like that sharp money is starting to believe that the Spurs might be live here. And I'll tell you what, man, everybody, their brother, their mother, their cousins, their fucking dogs and cats that had a sports betting account faded the Lakers off of that tournament yesterday or the other day. And I was not one of them, but what a great spot that was, man. That was, that was like the definition of easy money. So as far as the total 230s, now 233, 76% of the bets, 70% of the cash. I did see some questionable AD and LeBron, but it did look like they were available. So I don't know if they're going to get this. I haven't seen an official update yet as we've been kind of doing the show here, LJ, but what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I have a heavy lean to the Spurs first quarter, simply because they're 9-2 against the spread at home in the first quarter. The Lakers 3-7 against the spread in the first quarter on the road. So I have a real strong heavy lean to take the Spurs first quarter just because I believe they'll come out the gate, try to put some points up on the Lakers. So, but as far as taking a full game, I can't trust the Spurs. They're one of the worst teams in the league, especially against the spread. And the Lakers coming off a loss last night versus Dallas. Who's to say they'll be motivated to play this game? Take it easy, take it lightly. We don't know if LeBron or AD is going to play. I'm pretty sure one of them will play, either one. So just hard to predict right now, to get a nice gauge on this game because it really doesn't mean nothing for the Lakers, to be honest, because they're playing the same game in a couple of days, I believe on Friday. They play the Spurs again at home in San Antonio. So, this could be a throwaway game for them, man, for the most part. But I love your prop, Mike. I love it, Wimby. Yeah. I love it because I'm on his over 2.5 blocks, which is 3 as you, sir. So we are correlated there. This man averages 3 blocks a game. He's going to get this. This is what he sleeps, eats, and breathes. Blocks and the rebounds. He's getting 11 rebounds a game. So your 12 plus rebounds, especially if AD doesn't play the whole game, they sit down. When we get those minutes, I am all with that prop right there, Mike. I'm right with you. But you can make me official with Wembley over 2.5 blocks. I think I had it at plus 120. Let me check that number just to make sure. I don't want to give you a faulty number right now. But
so I saw that. He's been averaging 12 or more rebounds in his last 4 games. And, as bad as the Spurs are with this, I was just talking to T about this backstage before the show. 17 losses in a row, but he's going to have an opportunity to get out. He's been getting the rebounds. He's kind of the only guy to be able to get it done at this point. So he should be able to go out there and post that number up there. And he's got 59 blocks on the season. He's been averaging that 3 as well. So, and then when I put the 2 together, I wanted to try to get there with a side. I think I heard you say it earlier today, that Spurs first quarter. And I thought about parlaying that in there too, but I thought, 230 for me, it was a BetMGM thing. It was good enough for me to get the 12 plus. I got some skin in the game. It's going to be a primetime game. Going to be a lot of talk about that with the Lakers having just come off that in-season tournament as well. So I like it. I like the opportunity there.
My number, I have the over 2.5 blocks minus 126 is what I got the number at. The 4 is plus 160 is what I thought. But minus 126. You can make that official.
Locked and loaded. There's our guy, Dan Kelly says, I hope you guys got a Wemby season blocks leader at plus 1,300 when I told you about it in October.
Man,
Yeah.
I wish I would have.
I wish I did too, Dan Kelly. I'll tell you, I did not. I wish I did, but we'll keep our eyes on that and root for you as well, because I
For
think
real.
that guy's fucking 7 feet tall. He should be getting blocks. All he's got to do is put his hands up. I mean, he's
That's all
getting
he
games
gotta
where
do.
we're getting blowouts. So all he's got, they're going to get a lot of shots. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
make
He
much
just needs
sense.
to stay out of foul trouble because he tends to get early fouls. If he could control the fouls, he could have 6 blocks a game, Mike. He could probably get a triple-double on blocks, points, rebounds, and blocks. Like, he could easily do that if he get the minutes, so I see it.
But I know our guy T said it too. Like, Pop doesn't want the show to run through him, and it seems like that. I don't know what the deal is. They're just trying to acclimate him to the NBA culture and the added pace of games, because they have more games in the NBA, right? So that's always a big thing when these guys leave college to the pros. But let's keep it rolling. I love that we're kind of thinking alike on that spot there with the Wemby. That's going to be fun to watch. That's going to take a game that I had marginal interest in and jack it up a little bit for me, especially at a plus 230 spot. And I love that you're on the block side of it. So let's go. Let's get this next game we got here. We got the Brooklyn Nets, the Phoenix Suns. The Suns opened up as minus 5-point favorites. They're now 4.5. 53% of the bets and 31% of the cash on the Suns. So we do have slight tick to that Brooklyn Nets side of things. As far as the total, 228.5, now 232, 84% of the bets, 92% of the cash on the over, and it's moving in that direction. LJ.
I'm on it. Over 232. Mark me down. Suns, 8-1 to the over as a home favorite, 10-2 to the over as the home team. So Nets put up points as well. They don't play that much of a defense, but they're very team against the spread. So I'm not mad at your 4.5 with the Nets as well. They could easily come in here and cover this game. They have familiarity. Bridges, Cam Johnson coming back to the Suns. Never know how they're going to respond. They may say, why did you trade me? They want to show that they still have, some game in them, and want to come to Phoenix and have a good day. So I can see the Nets really covering this game. They're the number 1 ATS team in the league. So who's to say they're not going to come here and cover that 4.5? But I'm just going to stick to the trend that's been hitting with the Suns continuously. Just take the over, because both these teams put up points. And the fact that Bill, Durant, and Booker are all 3 playing the first time of the season, I'm expecting a lot of points, because all 3 of those guys can get you 25-plus points. So if they're having a good night, you never know how this total can skyrocket over. So definitely on the over, 232 is my play.
Love it. I actually have a 231.5 at minus 1.
Okay.
I have to go with that
Mark
number.
Yes,
I was thinking about that net spot. I just couldn't ultimately. It's a later game for me, so I got to see what the action going on, how we start this thing off here, guys. But do us a favor. We got one game left, and then the big show pops off here at 7:15 with the boys. If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up, 120 plus out there. We should see at least 100 thumbs up out there. If there's 20 of you that don't like what you hear and 100 do. But this ain't an easy show to come into. Appreciate our guy LJ. He knows his shit, because we move at a quick pace. He's firing away. He did the prep. He's not hemming and hawing. He's giving you the looks. He's telling you why they make sense. At the very least, hit the thumbs up for our guy LJ and the work he's putting in there. Rod Z says Spurs plus 3.5 and the money line for our guy Rod Z out there taking a banger on that thing. Rod's a wacky. Cash Zawacki. And Coin likes Brooklyn is 16-5-1 against the spread. Dan Kelly likes the Nets on the money line as well. And I see Cheshire. Congrats to you, my guy. Anytime goal scorer for our guy Cheshire. Laid down a big 12-1 spot earlier today and got that cash. So, man, this is what I said. This community gets better and sharper every single day. All you guys come in and contribute. You give us your great looks, and then our guests get ready and prepared. So let's talk about this last game. It's a Knicks Jazz spot. I've got an official play in this game here. We're minus 5.5. We're still seeing 5.5. So we're starting to see a little bit of 6s, I guess. 57% of the bets, 81% of the cash on the Knicks for a 0.5 point of movement at best. As far as the total, open at 229.5. We see 230s are out there now. 52% of the bets and 80% of the cash on the over. Again, kind of one of those marginal movement spots, LJ. Did you have anything for us here?
Yes, sir, I do. I'm on a prop in this game. But the Knicks, I would lean to the Knicks to cover the spread, just because 4-0 against the spread as a road favorite, 8-0 against the spread since last season as a road favorite with rest. So they play well in this spot. And the Jazz are 0-3 against the spread versus the East so far in the year. So the Knicks can come in here and take care of business, but I'm not going to trust it. I'm just going to get to the prop that you cashed with James Harden the last time versus Utah, who gives up what? The most assists to the point guard position. So we're jumping on Jalen Brunson, my guy, over 6.5 assists. And the number I see is plus 120 if I'm looking at that right. So it's plus money, 7 assists for him to get plus money. So he's hit it 5 out of his last 7 games, and Utah gives up the assist to the point guard. So for it to be plus money, should I be cautious? Hey, I'm not going to be cautious. I'm going to take it because maybe they're giving us a gift today. So Brunson, over 6.5 assists, plus 120 is my prop in this game.
Correlating the research that we did from last week and bringing it to the table today. That's my guy, LJ. I rocked with the over in this game. I thought a points fest here. First and foremost, the Jazz, when they're at home, are a different team, obviously, than when they're on the road. As much as they're kind of a suspect team to begin with. But it looks like some of the boys are go here tonight as well. At least the initial indication showed, that they should be a go. So we see that Jazz have scored 120 points, 103 points, 97 points, but then 118. So when they play some of those middle tier teams, they're putting points up on the board. And the Knicks, not afraid to put points on the board, 136, 123, 122, 119, 118. And the number that popped off the page for me on this one really came down to the Jazz. This was a Jazz spot with the over. So I need the Jazz to push these points, but the Jazz 20-0 spot over versus a team that had 17.5 free throws and didn't cover the last time they played head-to-head. In this case, that made sense. 240 to 219 was the range in those point spreads. So 219 to 240. And the cover was being 11.4 spots on the over in that thing. This number falls right in the middle at 230. So we have a 220 to 240, and they're covering by 11. This is the case here where I got that 230. The Jazz 15-0 to the over in the first game of a back-to-back versus a team that's off and over. If it's not more than 13.5 points is a favorite. So we do have a smaller favorite here in this spot, less than 13.5. First game of a back-to-back for the Jazz, 15-0 to the over. We know that Knicks-Toronto spot had just gone over that last game as well. So qualifies 13.86 points of margin in that over as well. So the last play for me on the card, LJ, is going to be the Knicks. And I got the over. I took the over here, and I'm just looking at the numbers before we wrap it up and put a bow on this thing. I do see 229.5s out there, kind of largely around the book, so I'll take that extra half point in my favor. 229.5 minus 110 is going to put a bow on the show for us. LJ, man, I appreciate you coming on, dude. When you said the other day you were going to be available, I was like, man, and it's a full card. So I knew there was going to be a full clip of plays for us tonight, dude. Again, I appreciate you being ready to rock and roll, being prepared. We keep that brisk pace, and you did a great job with it tonight. I know you're going to have a big show coming up here later with the boys. And tell them what's going on with you. Tell them where they can find you. Tell us what's happening with the Trill OG, man. This is your opportunity. Speak on it.
Hey, man, you can find me at Twitter at LJ Sports Media. YouTube, you can type in LJ from Houston, Raw Words Podcast, streaming right now. Put all my shows up. NFL, I got my props show come out on Sundays. I do my picks like Wednesday nights, so I may do a show tonight. So who knows what's popping up on the stream, man. Just having fun, doing what I love to do. And like you just said, check me out on Plus Sports Radio. Y'all can stay on the stream right now. We're about to go right into the NBA with Dutch and my boy Dabby Cap, breaking down the games, betting some games live, watching my Rockets take care of business versus Memphis tonight. So it's time to kick back, ladies and gentlemen. Go get a drink, roll up some smoke, and let's kick it tonight on Plus Sports Radio, man, with my guys, Dutch and Boy, out here and doing this NBA. So, yeah, man, love doing this with you, Mike. I may want to join you every Wednesday, considering I'm with Jimmy on Friday. So if I have time every Wednesday, I will be on the show with you, breaking down this NBA with you, my guy.
Oh, man, that puts a smile on my face, my guy. I love hanging out with you to begin with, and the work that you put in makes me want to work harder, dude. So I love it. I can't wait. We'll continue to rock and roll here. I got LJ Ingram over 5.5 assists, Maxey over 27.5 points, Houston first half under 102.5. Green over 19.5 points. Van Vliet over 4.5 rebounds. Jabari Smith over 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And he took a shot at that double-double at plus 145. He's rocking the Pacers plus 6.5. Giannis points and assists over 39.5. I love the double-up combo there. Wemby over 2.5 blocks. Nets over 231.5. And he closes the card out with the assist prop that we cashed on the other day. We're going back. Brunson over 6.5 assists at plus money, plus 120. LJ, my guy, I appreciate you, dude. I hope you have a great night. Stay cashing, and I'll be seeing you soon, man.
All right, sir. See you soon.
All righty. That's our guy, LJ from the H. I'll give you guys that last recap, and then we'll bounce off, and you guys can go and do the thing with the boys. Here we go. We'll jump through this thing real quick here. New Jersey -1, Pittsburgh under 6.5, and Pittsburgh and the under 6.5. Pittsburgh money line, Anaheim Ducks money line, Sabres over 6.5, Sabres money line. We move into college hoops. Chicago State +25, Creighton -12.5, Nevada -9, Louisville -3, Seattle +10, Philadelphia over 232.5. A couple of leans. Wemby, there's my prop bet for Wemby. 12 plus rebounds, 3 plus blocks, a +230. The Knicks over 230, and that's going to put a bow on the show. It's Last Call, Pub Sports Radio. Shout out to our guy T, holding it down backstage. The ones and the twos, getting everything tight and right for everybody, doing what he does. You know what's happening here. 7:15, the fellas, new show tonight. Get on over there. If you haven't hit the thumbs up here yet, please do so. Show that love and support. $4.99, become a member at Pub Sports. It helps us invest in more shows like what you're about to go see with the boys. All about the hoops, Dutch and Dabby and cast and crew tonight. Get that cash. Appreciate everybody. Tease, the Chillest, Joey Harb, Tori Coker, Ian Shaber with the dono, the gifted membership today. Appreciate all you guys. AOD, Dan Kelly sharing his goods. Caddy, Daddy, let's go, my guy. Appreciate you coming in and sharing. Perky Sanderson's there, ready to rock. Dan Kelly says, take care of your vocal cords. And Dan Kelly, I'm going to do just that. So hope you guys all have a great night. Stay cashing. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Pub Sports Radio. Last call, 6 p.m. Eastern. Let's get that cash, baby.